your day is going well. This is very early in the morning here in South Korea. Now, let us get started. Could you please introduce yourself and the work that you're doing currently for our audience?
Yes, my name is Victor-Rosales. I'm a CEO of VMR Marketing. It's a television and radio production. Also, I'm an anchor in television and radio on TV channels in Los Angeles, California, and I'm currently have a TV show on Saturdays on Channel 62 KRCA.
Thank you, sir. Can you tell us about how you first got to know about HWPL and what was your first impression?
Well, the story starts when a very dear friend of mine, Ruben Mata, called me and said that there was this lady, Suji, and that was looking for a studio to be part of an interview for Mr. Chairman Lee. And my very good dear friend recommended me because at the time I own a studio, a full-on television studio. They came to my studio and my TV channel. And yeah, they liked it. They said, this is perfect. We're going to do a good thing here. And it was very pleasurable because a few hours later, it was like at least 20 to 30 people. Very kindly, they cleaned the area. They put some pictures on it, flowers. They did an amazing job in my TV channel. And I said, oh, wow, this is really nice. And and then the interview came. And I tell you, it was a changed life experience for me. Because when I met Mr. Man-hee Lee, it was amazing. It was a great opportunity to talk to him for the first time face-to-face and understand his message.
Wow, that sounds very impressive. Now, Mr. Rosales, from what you have just said, how do you find it amazing and life-changing when you interview Chairman Lee?
Honestly, it was more my kindness to, of course, it was my door open to something that I think it was nice, but I never thought that it was amazing. And so the time came, and I was preparing myself, to interview him as an anchor. And out of the blue, I hear people screaming and in joyful way. It was really nice. I mean, it was very, very impressive the way they treat him and the way so many people really, truly love his work and his kindness. And I said, wow, I'm getting curious who is this gentleman because I saw so much excitement from the people when he arrived. And when he stepped out of the car, I was like, oh, wow, what? He's an elder person, but he looks very nice, very sharp, very clean cut. And I said, wow, this is very nice. And I can see his energy. I can feel his energy. And as soon as he walked towards the studio, everybody was very excited to see him, very pleased to see him. And, Sujin told me everything about him in a little short time. But when you see him, it's a different story. You can feel his energy. You can feel his peace. So we went to the studio. We sit down face to face. And that's what I had the pleasure to ask him, who he was, what was his ideas, and why he was doing all this for. And it was very impressive the way his conviction, as his ideas are so firm and so direct. And also, he talked a little bit about when God spoke to him and showed him the way to not worry, to really trust God in all the road that he was about to start. And I tell you, from the beginnings, the way he started at the way it is right now, it's amazing how God is being protecting him, giving him all the tools that he needs. And when I was interviewing him, I can see his passion about this situation. Like I'm saying, and I will say it again, a lot of people talks about world peace, but I believe that he is one of the men that really is doing something about it. So that was more impressive than anything else. When you do something about it, not just saying it,
Thank you for sharing that experience. I feel like your memory are quite freshing, so it seemed like it only happened yesterday. Thank you. Now, I know that you've done interview a couple times with Chairman Lee, and I know you already shared in the previous questions, but what is the most significant thing that you remember from the interview?
Well, you know what? I had the pleasure to interview him. I think it's my 5th time. It's so amazingly honorably because when he's coming to Los Angeles, this area in California. And now he asked me, if I can be there and interviewed him. But several stories are, number one, I remember very clearly that he was coming for only an hour to the LAX. And, Sujin and all the crew asked me, hey, you know what, do you mind if you go and interview him at the airport, because we're preparing something for him just, so he can see that he's welcome. I went there and, oh my God, I have never seen anything like it. Not even singers, movie stars, or anybody were so organized. The person that, a lot of people were organizing to cheer him, to have flowers, to have music. And once again, I interviewed him right there and then. Every single time I interview Chairman Lee, what I feel in the really true world is peace. I can see security. I can see certainty. He's the kind of person who knows what he's doing, which is very important. He has clear idea of his goals. You can tell that when he speak about it, something, either subject of war, God, or his message, or where he's going, you can tell that he is very secure, he knows exactly what he's doing and where he's going. And that's very heavy in somebody, especially the leader that is moving on all of us, we'll say, in HWPL. So every time I interview him and I ask questions about, what he does, who is he, what is his point of view, why he does that, or his vision, every single time I see his eyes, in his posture, and the way he answers, security, that he knows what he's doing, that peace, joy is another word. You can tell that he enjoys very much what he's doing. And those are the feelings that I feel every time. Security, joy, know where he's going, and definitely he has a clear goal that he wants to accomplish as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Rosales, for sharing your experience. Now, I'm also aware that you participated to the Proclamation Ceremony of the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War, DPCW, in 2016 March. And also you participated in one of the press sessions. If you can recollect your memory from back then on, how was it like? What was it like? Can you tell us about what you remember?
Oh, yeah. I think it was the first time that very kindly they invited me to go to Korea as one of the members of the press. And I tell you, number one, Korea is one of the most amazing places I have ever been. Very organized, very clean, beautiful. Korea has a lot to offer to the world, from beaches to mountains to lakes, and the society there is also amazing. So I get to know, I had the pleasure to be there the last 3 times. But the first time I went there, the beautiful part about it was the way they treat us. As soon as we got out of the plane, we were treated, as a royalty. No matter who was the delegation on that moment, they were treated with respect, with dignity, with a lot of happiness, and that was something nice. And then answering your question about the interview, it was an amazing interview. It was more people being there, like myself, different anchors and different reporters from around the world. And I remember clearly that 3 or 4 people, you got to raise your hand and they have to, let you know and do a little presentation, and then you do your question. And there were several reporters that were, instead of asking questions, they were questioning Mr. Lee about, what are you doing this? Do you know that you might be wasting your time? Have you talked to, the governments, and the governments are allowing you to do all this? So I felt like they were attacking him over and over and over. And in my side of my heart, I said, wait a minute. These people are attacking Mr. Chairman Lee and trying to put him down or trying to switch his ideas, when the gentleman has opened his arm and his heart, treated him like kings and royalty, and given him something, that he believes on. I felt a little sad about it, and I raised my hand like a school boy, and I begged to please let me talk. So when finally Mr. Lee and other people's members of the HWPL gave me the opportunity to be and talk to them, I stand up and I said, first of all, I want to say thank you, Chairman Lee, for having us here. And I'm going to apologize for my colleagues to be in this situation. And I just want to let you know that I am impressed. I am very happy that you're doing this. And you have my unconditional support in your ideas. And I want to tell you from this moment, I'm admiring you because you're not just talking about world peace, you're not just saying it, you're the first person that I have ever met that is really, truly doing something about it. And I know for a fact if we all together do something, we will accomplish what you really wanted to accomplish. So instead of attacking him or asking questions, I humbly said, thank you so much for thinking about us, the world, and pretty much don't mind what everybody says. Keep going. You have my 100% support. And the last comment that I'm going to do is that he was, quiet. He said thank you to me, finish it. And then 10, 15 minutes later, one of the members of HWPL called me and I said, hey, Victor, you know what? Mr. Sherman Lee wants to talk to you. When I went to his office, he really gave me his hand, hugged me a little bit, gave me a gift, and truly said, thank you so much. We needed that support from the press, and that's exactly what we're looking for. People who wants to support us and help us to accomplish what the idea of the HWPL is all about. So that was a very, very, very memorable moment for me being in Korea.
Wow, I'm really, truly inspired by what you just shared with me. If you don't mind, I want to ask you one more question. What was the atmosphere like after your presentation during that press conference?
Several reporters, like I said, they were, instead of helping or asking questions, they were kind of, questioning Mr. Lee, kind of pushing them down and, making him uncomfortable because the questions were, are you sure this is going to work? What grounds do you have to do laws? Is the governments are going to, have issues with all this situation? They were over and over and over questioning, what he was doing. And what I did is I stand up, like I said, and I said, and the most important part I said is that there is somebody who is doing something about it, who is really taking steps to do this peace world that we need so much. So yes, right away, everybody started feeling differently. Everybody started understanding what we were doing there, because in reality, what we were doing there, it was to create an ally of reporters, communicators, and people in the press to express every single person that we, in our different countries, in our different areas, what HWPL Chairman Lee was doing, And I believe that that was the message at the end, to understand that the reason we were there is not just to be questioned about the organization or his ideals. It was more help us to spread the word to the world and make sure that everybody understand what we were doing. And I got that immediately as soon as I got there, that Mr. Sherman Lee needed our help, not our different ideas. So right away when I said that, I think everybody understood the point, and everybody understood that we were there to help and to give him a hand to send a message around the world. So yeah, it changed definitely, and I think he appreciated that moment because he was very thankful, and I am very thankful at this point because it happens. Yes.
Thank you. Truly, I think it's a very inspiring story. Now, from what you've mentioned that the reason why all the reporters are gathered there is to spread peace through media across the world. Now, could you elaborate a little bit more about what you mean by that?
Yes, you know what? I saw that one, that, our media is so used to get the bad news, the war, the nasty, always the conflicts, always the negative of the world. And I tell you, as soon as I step on Korea, as soon as I step on HWPL area, and as soon as I start in connection with everybody, it's not just they're saying it. You feel it. You sense it. The peace, the joy, the hope there is in there, and not just there, not just in Korea, everywhere. Because I had the pleasure to be, in different parts, and I had the pleasure to be with members of HWPL in a different areas. I would say the world, but and it's the same thing. They're all joyful. They're all happy. They're all like. Pleasurely to help the Mr. Sherman Lee and the organization. So do I, and I think a lot of anchors, television reporters, and people that were there, representatives of media. I think they got the same thing. I talked to several people after we finished the conference because that's who I am. I talk to everybody, and. I see the changes. I see the difference. I saw people that were coming literally to attack the whole system, to disbelieve the whole system, to a couple of days later, or hours later, a few moments later, to have that inner peace that they need and said, you know what, we're here to help you. And I believe that a lot of people that were pushy and a lot of people were negative, now they're the best allies that we have in different countries. Because they do believe, they feel it, they've seen it, they tasted how HWPL is really advanced so much in every single country, and they've seen results. I see them with my own eyes with that amazing event in Seoul in a stadium where my mouth dropped. How many kids, how many people around the world were connected, just to show the world that it's possible, that it means something. So, answer your question, yeah, definitely. The reporters, anchors, and everybody changed that day when we saw everything that HWPL is doing.